The year is 2025. The American political landscape remains on edge. The specter of a second Trump presidency looms large, igniting fervent hope in his loyal base. Trump has spent the years since his departure stoking grievances and cementing his status within the Republican Party. His pronouncements on social media and in rallies carry the weight of a deposed monarch. The possibility of his return is a contingency for which his allies are actively preparing. They are laying the groundwork for a second Trump administration, more transformative and defiant of norms. This time, Trump and his allies are determined to avoid the missteps of his first term. They are assembling a team of loyalists committed to enacting his agenda. Gone are the days of draining the swamp. The new mantra is consolidation of power, installing trusted lieutenants in key positions. At the forefront of this effort is the America First Policy Institute, or AFPI, a think tank formed in the wake of Trump's 2020 election defeat. AFPI serves as a government-in-waiting, a brain trust dedicated to translating Trump's often vaguely articulated policy pronouncements into concrete policy proposals. Led by former Trump administration officials and staffed by a coterie of loyalists, AFPI represents a formidable force in conservative politics. Its mission is clear: to ensure that a second Trump presidency hits the ground running, fully equipped with an arsenal of executive orders, legislative initiatives, and regulatory rollbacks ready for implementation. AFPI is not merely a think tank. It is the embodiment of Trumpism in exile, a repository of the former president's grievances and ambitions, waiting for the opportune moment to be unleashed upon the American political landscape. AFPI's influence extends far beyond the realm of policy papers and closed-door meetings. Its members are frequent guests on conservative media outlets, where they shape the narrative surrounding Trump's legacy and promote his agenda. They serve as surrogates for the former president, articulating his views and attacking his opponents with a fervor that matches his own. Among AFPI's board members is a figure whose presence has raised eyebrows and sparked intrigue: Trish Dugan, a wealthy businesswoman and philanthropist known for her deep ties to the Church of Scientology. Dugan's involvement in AFPI has drawn scrutiny, in part due to the veil of secrecy that often surrounds Scientology and its adherents. Her presence at the highest levels of an organization so closely aligned with a former president raises questions about the potential influence of Scientology within a future Trump administration. Dugan's biography is a study in contrasts. She is a successful entrepreneur having amassed a fortune in the software industry. She is a generous philanthropist, supporting causes related to education, the arts, and human rights. And she is a devout Scientologist, having risen through the ranks of the organization to achieve a status of considerable influence. It is this last affiliation that has attracted the most attention, particularly given Scientology's controversial history and its reputation for secrecy and control. Critics have raised concerns about the potential for Dugan's religious beliefs to influence her political views and actions. AFPI's policy agenda provides a window into the potential direction of a second Trump administration, and it is an agenda that aligns closely with the former president's priorities. Deregulation, particularly in the areas of environmental protection and energy production, is a top priority. AFPI has called for the rollback of numerous environmental regulations implemented during the Obama administration, arguing that they stifle economic growth and place undue burdens on businesses. The think tank has also advocated for increased domestic energy production, including the expansion of oil and gas drilling on public lands and the revival of the Keystone XL pipeline project. These proposals reflect Trump's own skepticism of climate change and his belief that environmental regulations are an impediment to American energy independence. In addition to its focus on deregulation and energy, AFPI has also staked out positions on a range of other issues, including immigration, trade, and foreign policy. Its proposals reflect a hardline approach to immigration, advocating for stricter border security measures, increased interior enforcement, and limitations on legal immigration. Section 5. Think tanks and the power behind the throne. Think tanks have long played a significant role in American politics, serving as incubators for policy ideas and providing intellectual ammunition for politicians of all stripes. They are, in essence, idea factories, churning out research analysis and policy proposals that can shape the national conversation and influence the direction of government. But think tanks are more than just neutral arbiters of policy debate. They are often ideologically driven, reflecting the values and priorities of their funders and leaders. Conservative think tanks, in particular, have played an outsized role in shaping the Republican Party's agenda in recent decades. Organizations like the Heritage Foundation, the Cato Institute, and the American Enterprise Institute have provided intellectual heft to the conservative movement, supplying the arguments and policy prescriptions that have guided Republican presidents from Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump. These think tanks have been instrumental in advancing conservative priorities such as tax cuts, deregulation, and a robust national defense. They have also been at the forefront of efforts to roll back liberal policies such as affirmative action, abortion rights, and environmental regulations. Section 6. Loyalty above all. Trump's inner circle. Donald Trump has never been one to surround himself with yes-men. He values loyalty above all else, and he demands unwavering allegiance from those in his inner circle. This was evident during his presidency, as he cycled through advisors and cabinet secretaries at an alarming rate, often discarding those who dared to question his judgment or contradict his pronouncements. Those who managed to survive in Trump's orbit were those who understood the importance of loyalty and who were willing to put aside their own principles and convictions in service to the president. These were individuals like Mike Pence, who, despite harboring his own presidential ambitions, remained steadfastly loyal to Trump, even as the president's behavior became increasingly erratic and dangerous. Trump's demand for loyalty extends beyond his immediate circle of advisors. He expects it from his supporters, from his party, and from the country as a whole. He views any criticism, no matter how valid, as a personal attack, a sign of disloyalty and betrayal. Section 7. Scientology's long-game understanding Dugin's motivations. The Church of Scientology has long been shrouded in controversy, its practices and beliefs the subject of intense scrutiny and debate. Founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard in the 1950s, Scientology teaches that humans are spiritual beings called thetans who have forgotten their true nature and are trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. Through a process known as auditing, Scientologists believe they can achieve spiritual enlightenment and freedom from this cycle. Scientology has been accused of being a cult, a charge it vehemently denies. Critics point to the organization's authoritarian structure, its aggressive recruitment tactics, and its alleged harassment of former members and critics as evidence of its cult-like nature. Despite the controversy, Scientology has attracted a devoted following, including a number of high-profile celebrities who credit the organization with improving their lives. These celebrity adherents have helped to raise Scientology's profile and lend it an air of legitimacy, even as critics continue to raise concerns about its practices. Section 8. The intersection of belief and policy. The intersection of religion and politics is a complex and often fraught terrain. In the United States, a nation founded on the principle of separation of church and state, the relationship between the two has been a source of ongoing debate and tension. While the First Amendment guarantees freedom of religion and prohibits the government from establishing a state religion, religious beliefs continue to shape the views of many Americans and influence their political choices. For some, religious faith provides a moral compass that guides their views on issues such as abortion, same-sex marriage, and the role of government in society. Others view their faith as a call to social justice, advocating for policies that promote equality, compassion, and the common good. The potential for religious beliefs to influence policy decisions is particularly acute when it comes to issues that touch on matters of faith and morality. For example, the debate over abortion is often framed in religious terms, with opponents citing their belief in the sanctity of life and supporters emphasizing the importance of religious freedom and a woman's right to choose. Section 9. Unanswered questions, navigating the labyrinth of influence. Trish Dugan, a prominent Scientologist on the board of the America First Policy Institute, raises questions about the intersection of her beliefs and political activities. Dugan's role in AFPI, closely tied to Donald Trump, merits scrutiny for its potential to shape a future Trump administration's agenda. Some worry Dugan's involvement could give Scientology influence over government policy, especially on religious freedom. Others dismiss these concerns, citing no evidence of undue influence. Without access to Dugin's private thoughts, it's hard to assess how her beliefs inform her political views. Her presence on AFPI's board highlights the subtle ways religious beliefs can intersect with politics, shaping public policy.